former Republican congressman from New York. He's also the host of the Doing Time podcast. I'm a listener. George Santos. George, thanks so much for joining me on the program. We are now just getting news that Eric Swalwell will be resigning from Congress. Your reaction?
You know, Gaetz, it's great to be with you. And he's a coward. I'm glad he's resigning, don't get me wrong, but he's a coward. He wouldn't even face the media. He wouldn't face his colleagues. He took the easy way out, thank God. But this is just a tall tale of I'm innocent, don't worry, I will prove these violent, lambastic allegations against me. I'm sorry, I'm gonna take a quote from Swalwell's own line. Believe all survivors and never give up. And good riddance to Congressman Eric Swalwell, whose entire existence in Congress has now been resumed in one big mishap. We could have gone the last 13 years without him. I assure you of that.
It is true that in the entire history of the United States Congress, there have only been 3 ways to get expelled. The first is if you participated in the Civil War against the Union. The second, if you're ever convicted of a felony. And the third is if you were George Santos. It's its own category, George. And I know you went through a lot of these meetings where senior party leadership, committee chairs sit you down and they say, don't go face the expulsion proceeding, resign. Resign, and that's really what's best for you. You chose not to do that. Eric Swalwell chose to do it. Bring us into what goes into that decision.
You know, my decision was built on, I had a strong belief, and I'm no choir boy, Gaetz, and I've made that, I've scored that away with the American people, with myself, with my family, and I will continue to do so. But they took a civil campaign matter and turned it into an entire felony federal charge. And then they kept mounting it and parsing every count, everything they could do to turn it into something to unseat a member who had flipped a historic Democrat seat. I was angry. In hindsight, to be honest with you, after all the hurt that it put me and my family through, I would have probably also resigned. But I really wanted to push the limit and see if they were really willing to break precedent and actually remove me from the House without a conviction, without a trial, without anything. They essentially just went because they didn't like me. And with an ethics report that was inconclusive, members of the Ethics Committee voted against expulsion on both sides of the aisle, citing that the process wasn't done. So I think this is a personal choice. I made that choice then. Maybe I would have made a choice differently now had I known everything that I've lived and gone through. But I do find it quite cowardly that Eric Swalwell won't even show up to Washington, D.C. to face the music one single day.
You and I both served with Eric Swalwell. I was on committee with him. He was a prominent figure in the media. And I have to tell you, George, this did not surprise me, the news of his activity, because a number of women had told me that he was a creep, that he was pursuing them, that he was very aggressive with them. I'm just wondering, did you have any interactions with him while the two of you were in Congress together? And just does the news of the allegations surprise you?
I've been saying this about Eric for quite some time. I served with him in 23, and when I was in Congress, my short 11 months, the one thing I learned that was consistent is he was a creep. I heard from countless women, reporters who he would promise exclusive interviews to, only to lure them into his office after voting hours and then move on them. Staffers who were always absolutely shocked that their boss, would make a move on them. I've heard this from countless. I remember one specific disgruntled staffer venting to my staff, and then obviously, if we can go and talk about who was on my staff, they just briefed me on it and said, "Boss, we got something interesting on Swalwell." The problem is, I wasn't, as I said this before, I wasn't the sexual activity police. And he's not the only one that I've heard rumors about. I heard about countless. I put a list of a few of the ones that I've actually heard stuff from in the past while I was in Congress. And I know that that's just the tip of the iceberg. The problem is that they all want to make a case against people they don't like and want to remove, while they protect people like Eric Swalwell, like Tony Gonzalez, which, by the way, was really hard on both you and I in the media, both of them. And now I can officially say they were projecting all of their wrongdoings and misdeeds onto the both of us because they had nothing better to do. So I take much joy, Matt, when I come on TV and I call both Tony Gonzalez and Eric Swalwell scumbags, because that's what they are.
Some in the left-wing media are freaking out over this new contract between us at OANN and YouTube TV.
It's dangerous that One American News is being platformed on such a large digital streaming pay TV provider. You're freaking out about the fact that people have choice. You know, like people can't be allowed to hear what they have to say. OAN is not the only channel on YouTube TV. There's like dozens of them. So if you don't like what's being said here, we hope you stay, but there's many other things going on in the world. This is how the left operates, Alicia. They operate in censorship. They don't believe in choice and letting people do their own homework. This is the way the authoritarian left works. They don't believe in choice because they don't like the fact that we don't live in the 1960s anymore with 3 networks and your local newspaper.
We have to respect freedom of the press, the First Amendment, free speech. Remember that.
I want to begin tonight by welcoming and thanking all of our new viewers on YouTube TV. Overnight, One American News welcomed a potential 9.4 million new viewers on YouTube TV. So on behalf of everyone here at OAN, welcome to One American News. We are incredibly excited to have you.
This will allow all YouTube TV subscribers to enjoy 16 hours of live news coverage every single day, as well as all of AWE's lifestyle, travel, and family programming, and it will be available in YouTube TV's baseline package. Now, the Vice President and Global Head of Media at YouTube, Justin Connolly, said this about it. Our goal has always been to provide our subscribers with a wide range of content, which is why we're excited to bring One American News to YouTube TV. This partnership gives One American News access to our growing audience, while also giving our subscribers even more choice when it comes to news and entertainment. And we here at The Real Story are extremely grateful for the opportunity to now reach a wider audience. And we're also grateful for the time you give us each and every single day. And we're excited for the future at this amazing network.